line of defense. Sampaya to the orb.
Hey guys, welcome back to the CCT Season 2. Well, not welcome back, it's the first time we're doing our new segment of all the current affairs here in the vast Counter-Strike world. We'll be breaking down some stuff in a hopefully very short, refined amount of time. My name is Freddie Ogmirena. I'm joined by the wonderful Doug. Firstly, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing good, doing well. I am certainly looking forward to seeing all the action that's been unfolding over recent days over the ESL Pro League, as well as various other events that have been taking place, and seeing teams starting to qualify for bigger and bigger tournaments across the ponds, so to speak, that are coming up here in the next few. And I have to say, starting off here with the ESL Pro League, there has been some nice old upsets over the past couple of weeks there, from the group stages now into the playoffs. A few teams that were a bit unexpected to get to this point with the playoffs have been able to go ahead and pierce their way through into the quarterfinals as well as the semifinals as well.
Yeah, it's actually like there's been a lot of there seems to be an insane amount of just like roster changes happening right now. One of them being Gamer Legion, the first playoff they've made since making the grand finals of the major. Now they've actually removed the final person that was in that run, Isaac. They lost in the first round in the round one playoffs to Virtus.pro. And yeah, they're like, he's gone to NIP. NIP have completed their 5 now. Blue Phoenix is back with the academy squad. Like, it's really interesting how we're seeing like a mid-season shuffle right now as well.
Yes. Yeah, no, it has really been a bit of a crazy time with this mid-season shuffle. You don't expect to see a mid-season shuffle. Like, even as we're in the midst of EPL, like, it doesn't happen all too often. We're seeing teams go ahead and break apart and start to rebuild them, trying to go ahead and put themselves in better positions for the next EPL, along with the RMR. That'll be coming up, coming into the future there for the second RMR of the year. And so, I mean, there's going to be a lot to think through when it comes to these teams, trying to go ahead and make sure they're in the best position to try and take it into these upper echelons and get into deeper runs. But it'll be interesting to see how they're ultimately able to just put it out, because I mean, we've seen some great matches, but it'll be interesting to see what sort of other upsets can occur.
Yeah, FlyQuest, they're playing amazing Counter-Strike. Mongols, you know, you've got the Brazilian CS, they portrayed at the major, they got their new spot for Americas, and now you've got kind of like, not Asian, but the Oceania CS, like Asia, Oceania, the East. Look, they had 2 teams in the second round. FlyQuest almost beat Liquid. The Mongols, they're playing kind of as we speak right now, so that's going to be really cool to see them. But speaking of another big tournament, kind of, I guess the reason why we're all here, the CCT Global Finals is going to be really awesome, seeing a $500K prize pool online event. Genuinely some of the best teams in the world. You've got a lot of teams who are at EPL, and that's going to be a really exciting litmus test for, you know, we've got a lot of these changes. We've got a lot of teams making roster changes. It's going to be a really interesting litmus test now, like first showing for some of these teams, or even, I won't say first showings, but like they've done badly at Pro League. Now they're straight back into this big online event. How are they going to do?
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see how they are able to bounce back. I mean, you've got teams that didn't compete in Pro League as well. It's been a bit of a rough go of it. And one thing I do want to note really quickly is, because I thought this was rather interesting, when it does come to these teams that did cross the pond to go ahead and play into EPL. Teams like Imperial and Sharks just weren't able to show up in the way that they wanted to. We've generally seen these Brazilian teams and South American teams outperform NA teams when it comes to these international tournaments over in Europe. But this time around, we've seen that kind of flipped over, with NA teams starting to look a little bit more on the up and up. Of course, you do have the odd team that has been able to make it through, but I find it a little bit kind of disheartening when it comes down to it, because Imperial Sharks, they should have been looking to do a little bit more, but they just weren't really there for it, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, that's puffing some copium right there, dog. Like, all these NA teams, I don't know about you, but I'm only seeing, like, I guess complexity, but as your Mr. NA, Mr. Ryan said to me in the interview, we have to be happy with complexity being a top 15 team. So that's going to be really interesting. But we do have some Brazilian teams actually playing. We've got MIBR and paiN. MIBR have been on a tear. They didn't they just win? Yeah, they just won Challenger in Melbourne, beating Aurora and Apex. And I'm pretty sure Aurora also in the tournament. So MIBR and paiN, 2 Brazilian teams, with also the new addition of Snow, 17-year-old. I guess he's you know, insane. He's Brazilian donk, is he?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to pull him up right now. I'm trying to find him real quick. because I haven't watched it in my BR here in a minute. It's a little
He
bit
plays for
it's a little
paiN.
bit late.
He
Oh,
he signed for
paiN.
paiN
Sorry,
like
sorry,
5 days ago. But yeah, like he's come out of nowhere.
Oh
The
yes,
whole of
no.
Twitter was just like, who is this kid? Like he's literally played like 4 officials for them. He previously was playing for Case and like
Mm.
academy squads.
Yes, playing on Young Gods, playing on Los Grandes Academy, that sort of stuff. I mean, he's been around for a little bit now. He hasn't, like, he's definitely been able to perform in the situations, especially down in LATAM. He's been able to go ahead and really show up in some such situations, beating out other Academy squads. But I mean, he hasn't been able to perform like interestingly in ESL Challenger League there for season 47. He played against paiN when he was on Case, and they lost 13-10. And then they come back a couple of days later, and he's playing for paiN, going 13-9 against W7M. So I mean, it's a bit interesting to see that run.
Yeah. And well, speaking of the actual donk, he's playing here in the tournament as well. It's the first time we're actually going to be seeing him in terms of the major. And something I was thinking of
Yeah.
is that it's kind of insane that, like, returning back from the major, you've got this guy who's just turned 17. Yeah, he turned 17, I think, during Katowice or like 5 days beforehand. You've got this kid who he's at the stage in his career where he's super young. He played a handful of tournaments. But because he's done so well and
Yeah.
how CS hypes people up so much, you have this aura that he gets knocked out in the semi-final. No, he gets knocked out in the quarterfinals of the major, and people call that disappointing, which I find like genuinely insane. Like, bro is 17 with like 4 tournaments on LAN under his belt. This is second Ested tournament, and people are calling it disappointing that he's been knocked down in the quarterfinals. Like, what?
I mean, yeah. I mean, let's face it. He's as green as my green screen. So, I mean, it's going to be. He'll be able to go ahead and I know he's going to be able to refine his play coming up here into the future. I'm hoping that he's able to go ahead and try and find his foothold in a better way and get himself in those grand finals in each and every tournament, because he definitely has the possibility to be able to. He's an excellent player. He's been able to do great. People have been heralding him as the second coming of God almost when it comes down to it, because he's been able to go ahead and put up these great results. But I mean, yeah, no, he's green. He's got a while to go. He's going to be able to go ahead and start to refine his gameplay a little bit further. And then I think we will see him go ahead and hit those deep runs each and every time.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw someone coming out and being like, he should be playing more Counter-Strike, official-wise for Spirit. Like, he's in a peak of some sorts. Like, who knows if this is a peak? Who knows if this is, like, just a starting? But some people compare him to God, but I think he's a better player than that, and I'd love to see him on the server more. Speaking about a fellow CIS player, this guy, a little bit more experience. He's won a major, and he's been considered one of the best players in the world quite a few years. electroNic joining Virtus.pro. Wow, that took Counter-Strike Twitter by storm when that got announced.
I know. Yeah, no, that was a massive move. It was a bit unexpected when it came down to it. I mean, we were thinking that electroNic might have been sort of out of it here for the time being, but wasn't sure if he was going to be. It'll be interesting to see if he can come back into form, because I mean, it's been a while since he has been performing at that top level that he was back 2017 through 2023 when he was on Navi, when he was going through that run of tournaments and able to just go ahead and grab up tons and tons of stuff. On Cloud9, he was a little bit quieter, just wasn't able to put up the performances that he needed to with that squad. So seeing him on VP now, they're hoping that he can go ahead and try and make those runs again, try and come back into form that he used to be in. And I mean, it's really going to come down to it there.
Yeah, it's going to be as well. I think one of the final teams I want to talk about is Eternal Fire. These, the first time we've seen Turkish Counter-Strike on the map for a long time, with an IGL heralding from 1.6, where he was the gamer and he was the aimer. Now he's the brains of the operation with likes of Wicardia, where there's like, I think a 10-year age difference, or like, no, more, it's like 14. But I think a lot of people were saying that Eternal Fire had been extinguished. At Pro League, they only beat Imperial and Fnatic. They lost to Stralis Phase Saw. People are like, okay, was that kind of like a one-off, the whole Katowice, the whole major run? They didn't make it through to the Esports World Cup, losing to Sashi, which is quite a hefty result for them.
I mean, Sashi's been doing something.
Yeah, well, that was the first time that they did anything. And now as we head into this tournament, I think a few eyes will be on them of like, okay, Pro League, not too great. This is when we got to be making a deep run, because the reason why you have this spot is that you won the only LAN we've had for CCT.
Yeah, no, they did, and I mean that's a big accomplishment for them. But they're going to be looking to go ahead and trying to take this online final to sort of stake their claim, saying, "Hey, we are here. We're looking to go ahead and put up these major results, put up these results that do prove ourselves here against other competent teams." And this is the really a great chance for them to do it and to really stake their flag into the ground going farther. So hopefully they'll be able to go ahead and give us a good showing. But only time can tell if that'll be the case.
Yeah, and that is probably going to be all of us done. It's supposed to be a very short
Yeah.
snippet. There's so many things to talk about. Sus being bent by Metasport. What's cooking there? Apparently, Jaquinho's out. What's happening over there? I thought they were playing well. You've got Apex now all released from their
Oh
contracts.
yeah.
Fours are building a new roster. There's a team called Granny Knockers now playing. There's so many interesting things going on. However, we're not going to be able to cover them all today, but that's probably our first news segment done and dusted. So thank you very much for listening to this short little snippet, and we hope you guys all enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back to season 2 of CCT. In the first season, not only did we have loads of Counter-Strike, but we also had the chance to speak to players such as Maja and Taz and many more. You can check them all out on YouTube. But now, as we enter season 2, we are also kicking off the content with a bang. Firstly, we want to introduce bodyy, who has been playing at the highest level of Counter-Strike for many years, winning tournaments both internationally and regionally. Now he is representing the legendary organization of Fnatic and is set to play in the CCT Global Finals later this month. So I'd love to introduce our guest, bodyy. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good. A bit tired from the practice day, but looking forward to play a tournament again.
Yeah, and well, speaking about the global finals, what are your expectations heading into them? There's a new map in the pool, and I think you were saying to us off camera that you're a lover of Dust too. So, what's it like going into a big tournament like this with a new map?
I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't expect Overpass to come out of the pool, so came as a shock that this was the one that was getting removed, and it is kind of annoying for me because I really like the map and we had decent results on it. But it is not for nothing because Dust 2 is one of my favorite map and it's back and it's French and yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. I'm not gonna lie. So let's see if we play it, let's see if we ban it. But at least I'm happy. I can play Face It on it.
Yeah, can't expose too much, like don't want to have people hearing this and reading into things. But well, maybe you would have wanted it in Pro League because you at Pro League, you guys didn't make playoffs. So with a big tournament like CCT Global Finals coming up, does it maybe add some more importance doing well in that tournament after Pro League?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of expectation for us for this Pro League, and obviously we came there to get as much experience of lands as possible, and like trying to get that big result that we were definitely lacking, because we're mostly playing online and our armor was not the best. So really happy about winning against VP, but that was not only it. We would have expected to make it to the playoffs, which we didn't. And now we're just coming back home, focusing on the new map pool, focusing on new online tournaments, new chances to prove that we can make it, and definitely gonna take that chance.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose you'll be looking to go ahead and experiment with this new map pool with Dust 2 being added and Overpass being subtracted here with a bunch of these online tournaments that will be taking place over the next couple of months because there's quite a few of them, and I'm sure you guys are going to be competing in a bit of them. So I'm guessing at least, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, you guys are going to be using these tournaments to go ahead and try to experiment to see what can work in officials and what doesn't.
We take all these officials as not as practice, but as a chance to test ourselves after this month or weeks of practice, depending how many tournaments we accept of playing or we get invited to. And yeah, I think that we could have just waited for like LAN tournaments and the invitation that we get, just play these tournaments. But this is not a way where you learn the most, and this is not the best preparation to just wait like for the biggest tournament and then not having this official grind mindset that we definitely need with this young team and young players. So we decided to just play a lot of online tournaments to get ready for this kind of events for Pro League. Like I could definitely feel the difference in mentality and kind of experience, but also in a way that we feel confident playing in this environment when it comes to LAN. And from RMR to Pro League, playing all these online tournaments definitely made us better, and that's what we keep on looking forward to. And yeah, we take this online tournaments really seriously, and obviously it's not as easy to be on the same mood, like shout at home and like be in the best grinding mindset, because that's online tournaments after online tournaments. You don't really see much of a difference, but you have to make it. You have to prove yourself that you can be good at any cost and at any like places, pretty much. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy about playing online tournaments in the end.
Yeah,
Not a big
and
fan of it, but
oh, sorry.
it's mandatory. Sorry.
Yeah. So you actually, it's like kind of talking about what you're saying about the experience you've built up. You mentioned after the RMR that your team would feel pressure in situations when you shouldn't feel pressure and you struggled to close out some maps. Has that as well changed since the RMRs and since playing these online tournaments?
I definitely felt a difference. Yeah, mostly in the connection that we have together and this not playing, like playing not to lose, but like we came at the RMR with a mentality of always like being serious and playing to win, obviously, but like maybe too serious when it comes to like team chemistry and stuff. And I think you could see that on our faces at the RMR, that we just came here to win and losing was not an option. And like rounds after rounds in tight situation, we just came into like a wall and didn't really knew how to get back from it, because we like never like expected this scenario to happen, and we just like crumbled. But I think tournament after tournament and this kind of experience made us better, and now we like knew how to get this team bonding together and this like mood high at any situation. And even more now that online it's harder to get that mentality, we like focusing a lot on that, and then it gets better on LAN. But we obviously had our struggles as any team, but yeah, we worked a lot on closing maps and like trying to not get overwhelmed by like situations such as getting echoed in fucking hard situations. I shouldn't say that, but like that's the truth. We like trolled a lot of games by getting echoed and getting this slip into our heads. So yeah, definitely a huge mental build that we've been working on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so something that I was going to talk about later, but I think you've kind of brought it up there of that maybe mental, and I think QB said in an interview that you guys really bounced back after the RMRs with all of these young players. Well, not all of, like you've got two quite young players, and Afro and Crim's obviously a lot of experience. Do you play a big role as the captain in building up and like, getting the mentality up for the team?
Yeah, definitely. I am definitely playing a big role into getting the team mood, in the like getting the team in the same page and like telling the nod and making sure that we're connected at all time. Um, at the beginning of the team, I didn't expect myself to have to do as much as I'm doing now. So like I thought it would be more natural when it came into building this team, but like it. Like with the individuals that we have, I definitely need to do it more and make sure that no one is left behind and we all always connected at the same mood. So yeah, the coach, Dreams, me are definitely playing a big role into that matter, and we like make sure that at any official, and as I said before, online it's obviously really hard to do it, but we make sure that we always connected and keep our spirit high at any point, not to tilt, not to get our mood down, not to get affected by losing in stupid rounds, stupid mistakes, and always being on the same page is one of our biggest like work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. I do have a quick question about your squad there with Fnatic. When it comes to communication, do you guys ever find that there's a bit of a language barrier that sometimes obstructs the true meaning of what you guys are trying to communicate to each other? Or do you guys pretty much have that all in sync at this point?
Hasn't been easy at the start, I would say. My first really experience as a leader in an international group. Obviously, English is not my native language, as you can hear, but I think I'm not doing a bad job at like learning and trying to adjust to the team and the environment and having an English speaking coach and to get connected at any time. It has been an issue, I would say, at the start, obviously. Maddie's first international team, also kind of mine as well, and trying to build over it. It has been hard at the start, like for the first weeks, I would say, me trying to adjust and like get my ideas, obviously not in French anymore, but like have to think in another language at all time and in the like smallest and tightest situations. It's not easy, I can say, but I think I did pretty well at adjusting, and now my coach has been helping me a lot to make sure that my reaction time in that matter like gets better. So I think I did well at like improving into speaking English better and like making sure that I tie the note the best I can in that sense. But like outside the game, English is not really an issue. Like we have fun together, even though like obviously you know how it goes in that kind of team, in this kind of team. Sorry, like different cultures, different backgrounds, different like ways of thinking and stuff. But I think we have a great group and like we all fit really well together. And I don't think like English is like such a big deal, to be honest.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that you guys have overcome that in the short time that you guys have been together. It's good to hear that. But when it does come down to it, do you think it's had it's caused some issues there in the beginning, and now coming up here into the end, you guys have overcome it, and going forward, you guys are planning to just go ahead and just keep it on at this point and seeing where you guys can take it?
Yeah, I would say if I can come back to it, I can say that the biggest issue hasn't been like English in a way. It would more be like speaking the same language inside CS. As I said before, like outside the game wouldn't be an answer, a problem, but more inside and on the server. So yeah, it was not really a barrier, but it was more of a like connection stuff together and like speaking the same CS language most likely. And I would just need you to repeat your question. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I think we've got a couple of other questions that we're going to move on to because I'm sure that Ryan has a couple of ideas for us.
Yeah. Oh, it's amusing because with Fnatic, like I swear, as an organization, those teams have always had communication issues. Like I remember speaking to Nikados about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we have comms issues." So it might just be a Fnatic thing. But wrapping up kind of the conversation about the global finals, just ultimately, what are your goals coming back to online Counter-Strike and with this big tournament? What are your goals for this tournament?
Winning?
But oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, naturally.
Winning is definitely the best and the goal for us when it comes to obviously online tournament, and like we kind of got experience now on it. We're more of like lacking of like offline experience, but more of a like global tournament experience is what we need. So I would say that winning is definitely the goal. See how far we can like go, and the new map rule is gonna like speak by itself when we're gonna start playing on it. But like we have been like working really hard to fix our issues and fix the problems that we have in the team and get better in obviously the good aspects of our game as well. And yeah, I'm like not really scared of anyone. I just think that on our great days we can destroy any team, and on our like shady days we can obviously lose to everyone as well. So trying to be as consistent as we can. And this is our goal for the next tournament, and I think if that's the case, we can really be a scary team for this global finals.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned kind of the like you have the highs and the lows. At Pro League, you played VP twice. You beat them in the opening round, and then you ultimately were eliminated by them. What changed between those two games?
I think what changed between those games against VP is most likely that we kind of surprised them in a way that we played, but also it was their first official with electroNic, and they got him like for a week, and they obviously needed time to adjust and play an official to be sure how they wanted to play or what would be good for them and what wouldn't be good. So I think it was kind of both. Like we obviously played well, and I'm really happy about this result, and I was really happy about my leading performance in this match. But also, yeah, they need time, and they obviously got a really strong player, but like no team can be top 5 in the world in a week. So they got better over the tournament, official by official, and they learned from their mistakes. And obviously, it was really close in Vertigo again, and we could have won that map. I think we had the advantage before the overtime, but they adapted their map pool as well against us, and it like made a lot of good for them because the first best of 3 was really advantageous for us when it comes to vetoing and the 3 maps that we would play, but like they effed us for the second one, and it was not nice.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I do recall QB coming on an interview at some point here in the past saying that you guys were struggling with Vertigo a bit when the team started. We were wondering how you guys overcame that to go ahead and start to try and make it one of your more stronger maps here in the recent past.
We're kind of adjusting to what maps are not going well for us right now, but it's weird in Counter-Strike because you are playing a lot of officials and you think your map pool is strong, and then you like start to play these tournaments and you just realize that that map wasn't as great as expected, or that playstyle was good for 1 or 2 matches and wouldn't be consistent, and then you have to do it again and again and again, and your strong map becomes your weak ones because you don't play them as much and you're trying to fix the weak ones, and it's like a huge circle all over again. Like I think it's the same in most of the teams. So yeah, we are way better on the maps that we were bad at the start of the team, and obviously getting a bit weaker on the one that are working really well for us. So
Yeah.
as I said before, we're gonna see how it goes with the new map pool, and
Oh, yeah.
we are definitely not afraid of what we're gonna show. So I'm just really excited to play this tournament and excited to see what we can do on these new maps.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome seeing you on the tournament. But kind of finishing up maybe some of the conversation at Pro League. You played 3D Max, so obviously a team that you would probably know the individuals being from the same country, but you'd actually beaten them twice online in recent history. What was it like coming to Pro League, and maybe why were some of the reasons why you were unable to beat them on LAN?
We came to this tournament playing VP and 1 match away from reaching playoffs, and we kind of have always been struggling when these games get close and we like are really close to a point where like we're gonna do a result. And like when it comes to like this tournament, it was making it to playoffs. When it came to the RMR, it was making it to the major. We were like really close of making it, and I think we are like having those days when we're reaching this point, and we are really working on that, and maybe probably pressure. So I don't think it was 3D Max in particular and my fellow Frenchies. I think it was more of a day that was not a good one for us, and I don't want to find myself any excuses anyway. It was like just a rough day for us in not the office, obviously, in the studio. So yeah, they played really well and we didn't. So props to them for making it to the playoffs.
That's certainly props to them for that. Of course, you guys do have a number of events coming up here in the next little bit, CCT and other stuff like that. I know you guys have a LAN coming up in the next 5-ish weeks there. Where you guys are going to be heading down to South America to compete down there. Do you guys have any ideas of what you guys are going to be facing off against when it comes to fighting teams like the Red Candids and other South American rivals when it comes down to it? Or do you guys are going to be a little bit on the edge of your seat to see how it goes?
We're going there to win. There's no other goals. We're going to this tournament to win, and playing LAN always nice. Going to Argentina always nice. We there are some really strong teams, Newny, Koi that we've been facing, and they got us kind of out of major contention, and paiN, Imperial, 9Z, Red Canids, Bestia, all these teams that we never face because we don't get a chance to practice against them and play online tournaments against them. So I don't know what to expect. Some great CS, some crazy CS, some exotic one, but I'm excited for this tournament. Single elimination bracket, a lot of flight hours, adapt to jet lag. I'm really excited, to be honest. Been a long time. I didn't fly out of Europe, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. How do you think, just kind of speaking about an event like that, where you said it's like the longer hours, single elimination, jet lag, maybe, what do you think it's going to be like for someone like QB or Mattis who maybe haven't had events like that? What do you think? Or even Afro, maybe. I don't think Afro has played an event in that kind of environment. What do you think it's going to be like for them? And do you think you, Crims, and Kater will have to do something special, maybe in a way to help them adjust?
Strange one, in LA. We are going to a tournament where, as you said before, QB's never been out of Europe, I think. So he doesn't know what it is to feel these hours of travel, get back to your hotel room, not manage to sleep, and repeat nights after nights. Well, obviously we can give some tips, but this is then up to you and your body to adjust. Obviously, it's easy for nobody. You guys can also say it, I think. We are gonna try to help them as much as we can, obviously, but we just see how it goes. I don't make it a big deal. We are there to play Counter-Strike, the game we love, and say that there's gonna be any problem in this matter. Just looking forward to play some LAN CS again.
Yeah, should be really good fun. And so, speaking maybe about the Fnatic squad, you have a fellow Frenchie. You have Afro on your team. You've actually played with him a lot, but not on an AWP. When he was on a rifle, because you had Sixer and Twanu in different rosters. What's it like seeing him develop from when he was that rookie, not even AWPer, but rifler, but forced onto a rifle? What's it like seeing him develop to where he is now?
I've seen every version of Afro. I brought him into my teams with a rifle at the start, and then got him into Double Pony where he was playing with the AWP. So I kind of helped him develop as an AWPer to the end of Heat until he we joined each other again, our path crossed again in Fnatic. Obviously didn't play as many tier 1 LANs together. We played some RMR 1 Pro League, but obviously he then had the chance to play some IEM Cologne in a few pro leagues, so it was the experience that he didn't have and he was lacking before. I can say that he's more autonomous now and he knows how to work and his weaknesses and his strength. That makes a difference, and I think it's gonna help him get better over time in this team. Like, I think we didn't see the best face of Afro in the past month, and we are gonna see a way better one soon, even more than S2 came back, his favorite map in the world. But it's been really good to get back to playing with him again, and we're even traveling together because we live in the same city. So
Oh, that's cool.
It's definitely a cool one. Not gonna lie, like, we live home together, we get into the same train, get into the same plane, and get there together. So definitely a cool one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I'm sure you guys are. It sounds like you guys are really excited about getting into Dust 2 there. I'm sure you guys are going to be looking to play that in the first official you can. Do you guys have a plan? Do you guys know which official you guys are going to be finally competing on the coveted Dust 2 map? Or are you guys still up in the air on it?
First official, we pick it.
just the first one, just like insta pick.
That doesn't time, brother. That doesn't time. We'll see how it goes in
what a
practice,
map.
most likely.
I mean, like, because, like, Maddies and QBs, they haven't been around for that long. Like, have they even played officials on Dust 2?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Surely, right?
Is this Dust to God that everyone needs to look at in the next month? You'll see.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. And so kind of like talking maybe still about when you were first joining of Afro. That was actually when you started taking up the leadership role after LDLC. What's it actually like developing that over the years? After being unsure to even take it up in the first place. You mentioned how you had like autonomous players in DBL Pony, and you were still taking a proactive role. Is that still the case now?
So yeah, since the first DBL like weeks and stuff, where I needed this role and I needed this space when it comes to like leadership and like ideas inside the team. I didn't expect myself to like start with it, and like I knew I had this conversation with Jax that was telling me that I should definitely do it, and I took this role. After, I would say, almost 2 years in the French scene of being IGL, I was not quite happy with how it ended, and like I was thinking that I was going into a circle with it, and yeah, it was not like as easy as it was. And when I like joined Falcons in the end of Heat, I like kind of gave up this role for NBK. Like, he really wanted to do it, and I knew I could still do it, and I like would refresh myself to play with new players and like get new ideas and get new profiles to work with. But like, it got me into a fresher mind by doing so, and I got to play pretty much every role when it comes to like a team environment, like a player, anchor, or whatever, rotation, or co-IGL that just gives a lot of ideas to his leader mid-round and like speaks a lot, and then leader. And I think I really enjoyed my time off the lead, but this is not what I needed and what I think I needed to win tournaments and like games. So I'm really happy to get back to it. Huge challenge for me to do it in English, not gonna lie. When it comes to observer and like communication wise, really happy with how I developed as well. And yeah, let's see how far I can take this and how I can do with the players I have.
Yeah, no, that's all fair enough when it comes down to it. I'm sure you guys are ready and raring to go when it comes to getting into more officials here for the rest of the season. You guys trying to get prepped to see what you can do towards RMRs as well, and looking towards other major events. I suppose a lot of this is you just getting prepped for that. But if there was a sort of this is a bit of a tangent, and I apologize for this. This was a question that popped up into my mind. If there was a balance change or a different map other than Dust 2, of course, which I know you love, to come into CS2 from here on out to get things to be spiced up a little bit further, what would that be?
Maybe an economical change, I think.
Economy change.
Yeah, I would expect not to play as many pistol rounds, eco round, when you have so few rounds to play in a side. We expect to have more buy rounds, and yeah, I don't know, like just adjust something into the economic meta and make sure that we don't play even buy rounds and eco rounds. So yeah, I would say I would expect that, to be honest, in the next months.
Yeah, fair enough then.
Yeah, and just kind of finishing up, we don't want to keep too much of time, and we want to keep this short and sweet. You were kind of mentioning your last year, you dropped the IGL role. It was also just, it felt like from the outside perspective, maybe a little bit of a turbulent year for you. Is it like, how is it feeling now heading into the future, knowing that you've refreshed yourself, you've got a stable squad with youngsters that are hungry to learn? How do you feel going in and qualifying and playing for these bigger tournaments now?
Last year have been a rough, man. But I think the one before hasn't been easy either. Like the grind is mentally really hard. But I think I'm happy about where I got now. Till last year was hard when it comes to results, like root results, when we came so close to qualifying for the major with Falcons and like maybe 2 rounds away from making it to legend stage and losing to obviously the major final is Game Religion, but it was so close yet so doable. I think as an individual, it was probably one of my best years as well. When you take the French, like the first part of the year, and obviously I had to adapt then to English roster, a new squad, but like I think of the IGL after spending 2 years of playing this role and like just focusing on myself after that, I think I got a huge like advantage by like understanding the game way more after like having to micromanage and like watching so many games of ourselves and understand what was going on the map. But like I was lacking something when I was like not leading, and I think I needed that again. And still I understood how to get better individually, and now I just have to get as consistent as I can. Sorry, to mix both up, and
Fine.
yeah, I want to be like one of the best shooting IGL in the world, and like this is my goal right now.
Yeah, so you were kind of talking about how like the time and the grind with D-Bell Pony might have been quite hard, and last year was maybe there was some hardships. How would you actually like bounce back from something like that? Like even just mentally after, you had the heights of G2 and then the grind that was rough. How would you kind of come back into things now?
I don't really come back into it. Like I grew from all this experience, and
Yeah.
like I'm really not the same person I was in like back then in G2. The rookie I was in, like the like kind of follower I was with all these ideas that people had and like the ways of doing stuff. Like I wouldn't be where I am today if I was not leading into this double pony squad back then and all the things that I learned from this grind. And mentally I got way stronger to still being able to keep on doing that when like it's really hard to play qualifier after qualifier, get close to your goal that is a major and fall short like few rounds away every time. So my goal is to get a better like mindset, because I think that I got a stable squad now and a stable organization ready to back me up and ready to assist me to achieve my goals. So I think I'm really excited about the future, really excited about where I am now. I have all the tools in my hand to do good, and just my goal, my coach's goal, to make it work and make it like bring Fnatic back to the top, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hopefully as well. You know, you've got the UK mastermind in the back. He's doing us all proud. But yeah, bodyy, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure to be able to talk to you. A legend of not only the French scene, but just of Counter-Strike in general. And we wish you the best of luck over in the global finals later this month. It's gonna be really exciting seeing you guys back online after Pro League. You impressed a lot of people with your victory against VP, for instance. So hopefully we can see more of that consistency. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And for everybody, thank you so much for listening and watching this far. We're back for season 2. We're going to be having a lot more of games. We're going to be having a lot more of interviews. Make sure to check out our socials. They'll be all down in the description for more information regarding all of that stuff. And it's been a pleasure having you, bodyy, for our first ever interview. So everybody, thank you so much for watching, and make sure to stay in tune next time where we'll be doing an interview with another guest.